If you're a fan of rock and roll history or Cleveland music history in general, I would highly recommend Smoky, Sweaty, Rowdy, and Loud. It's a history of Cleveland's rock and roll scene. I think my favorite chapter comes from the one on the Music Carnival, which was a big circus tent basically next to Thistledown Racetrack and housed every big rock show act you can imagine. Including Led Zeppelin, which when they played here on July 20th, 1969, they were only 6 months out from their first album, so they weren't necessarily the giant global sensation that they were yet, but still popular and growing with the younger crowd. And it just so happened that this show, as you might recall, happened the same night as the Apollo 11 moon landing. Legendary Plain Dealer rock critic Jane Scott was there, and she gave the band a good write-up. And what's really funny about it is that the moon landing was supposed to happen around midnight, but it got pushed up. And so Led Zeppelin basically said, like, hey, look, we're going to do one more song during our set, and then we're going to let everybody go so they can go see the moon landing. And they did a final sort of encore of Communication Breakdown, and then hopped in their limos and took off. They arrived at the Somerset Inn on Warrensville Center Road near Van Aken Boulevard, which now if you go to Van Aken at any point, you can think about the fact that Led Zeppelin saw the Apollo 11 moon landing right down the street. They were there with Scott, Bruno Bornino of the Cleveland Press, and then some members of the James Gang. And then they watched the moon landing. And it's one of those, you know, where were you when this happened type historic events. And so obviously it left such an impression on Robert Plant that years later, in a radio interview, when they asked him his memories or thoughts on the Apollo 11 moon landing, all he had was one word, which was Cleveland.